Oh my God. Oh, oh my God. Hopefully this won't be long. Oh my God. I apologize. That was showing my demons. Don't show my demons. To my cushion. Oh, y'all. I don't. Work on releasing trauma. I will say. For release the trauma. I said, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for having me work on me. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for having me work on me, loving me, caring about me for so much. I thank you. God shows me every day something new that I need to be grateful for, that I'm definitely grateful for, that, yeah, somebody's probably, needless to say, I don't know how I want to talk about this. Releasing trauma, forgiving and letting go of addictions, any type of addictions you may have. In this lunar eclipse, and then there's also a solar eclipse coming up on the 21st, I think, believe. So tonight is the lunar eclipse, and the 21st is the solar eclipse. Um, you want to work with these energies. This is not time for manifesting because you will lose everything. Okay. Um, you want to let go of old places, people, things, paradigms, principalities in particular. You might even want to fast. You should fast. You know, fasting would be definitely a good thing. Um, being gentle with yourself, being very kind to yourself, being kind to others, even though they may push you, has worked out significantly, abundantly. So, whew, I just want to say it works. The healing process, it really, really, truly works. And, you know, just be grateful for, you know, the people that take the right route and do the right forgiveness and ooh, all of those things, boy, that needs to be done right now. And for those who don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Keep it at your just, write that shit down, burn it. Understand it's gonna be taken care of. Write it down and burn it. Whatever you want to release right now, write it down, burn it. Focus on that flame and just burn the negative, hateful thoughts away. Didn't know, but this is how God works with me is amazing. It's absolutely amazing because I had no fucking clue. From my own personal experience, what was happening in my life, this is how I know. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I made a playlist called "Which Devil Are You Serving?" Right, and around, well, sometime before I made that playlist, There was a situation that happened. Lady helped me out. You know, it's kind of cool. You know, y'all know I'm not really. You don't got to do shit for me, and you definitely ain't gonna treat me like a child, and nor disrespect me. You know what I'm saying? Keep your distance if that's the case, or I'm gonna know how to keep my distance, right? Facts. So this person knew that we would have Bible study. I forgot. And I'm pissed off. I'm talking shit in my head. I'm like, damn, well, where this person at? I forgot the lady was going on vacation. And I said, oh shit, that's my bad. That's on me. I'm tripping. Back from vacation or whatever, right? On a particular day, mind you, forced the day of, and I'm like, well, hey, if I gotta work out, I gotta do what I gotta do. If you put in time to where it's messing up my time, oh well, it is what it is, right? But I let it be known, hey, this is not a good day. Hey, this is a good day. So whatever, you know what I'm saying? I try to work with the energy, but the energy kept bow bow, like we bumping. It's something going on here. So I'm like, okay. I'm calm, cool, collected. I'm really easy to communicate with. Communicate. Just be like, hey, KD, I don't know how to really explain this, but this is the words that are coming to my mouth. Can I express it to you? And you just be that great person that you are, take it, decipher it, and we can have a conversation about it. Yes, I can do that. Yes, no problem, no problem. So this person gets from vacation. That was supposed to be the next day. Oh, well, you didn't respond, so I didn't. But you knew a couple of weeks ago that you supposed to game. Good, you feel me? Nice, tasteful. I ain't gotta cuss you out. I ain't gotta aspect of the understanding, right? I had my peonies, right? Y'all remember my peonies? I had my peonies, and I wanted to regrow and be able to wait on those peonies. Well, I needed a ride to the store to get this particular thing to help, it root. So I can get the soil, whatever, and then help it root and then be able to wait on it to grow and take care of it and nurture it and whatever, whatnot, right? But the symbolism that I got from it and what put the nail in the coffin was that action. So that action behind that tree, it hurt me deeply. It did. It hurt me deeply. I'm very sensitive when it comes. Thank you guys for the like, share, subscribe. I'm very sensitive when I really need to get something done because I don't really too much ask for nothing. But when I do ask for something, it's meaningful. It really is meaningful. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is what I'm saying. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is it because there's gonna be no more. There's no, and then like I've stated before, there was some stuff going on in the background. I was like, why is this going on in the background that she's explaining to me? I'm like, damn, there's something off about this energy. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm smart as hell, just as smart as anybody else. If a whole library was auditory read to me, I could remember everything. Everything. And just because you feel as if you're superior to me doesn't mean so. On the spiritual, intellectual side, you're 8. You're done. You're cooked. Whatever term you want to use, it's a wrap. And that's pretty much how I just nip shit in the butt. Hello. So, needless to say, I don't care about what nobody say. And this is this is kind of running rampant. This particular closest to the truth, and that's probably for a reason. It's probably for a reason. I'm pretty sure and that is the but the mentality that people use behind it, the Bible, is the issue. And I feel like in all religions, of course, there's pieces of truth in every religion. That's why they were divided. Just like, you know what I'm saying, like the 13 zodiac signs. Ophiuchus is the 13th zodiac sign, the hidden one. The hidden one is within you. Ultimately, mastering all elements, and you will want to use all elements in this particular eclipse of both, I would say. Let the sunshine, let the sunshine. I can see. Oh, Jesus. I can see why. Uh, this is so tricky. I can see why it's so tricky to of the way things are put, but it is. But it also confirms my dream I had last year. Technically, before last year, pissed me off. Shit pissed me off. Ooh, I caught that one. Wasabi peas. Whew. Is that a wasabi plant? Good little healthy snack. Wasabi peas, if you like spicy stuff. Also goes along with the readings that I've heard before, which is scary. It's scary because so it makes it complicated, especially when you're on the soul level. You're will, you're a teacher as well as a student. You know, but eventually, hopefully, the message will come through. Damn, but I would. Oof, I'm just thinking like sometimes when certain things don't go into play, as to how long will that cycle last now, because somebody got tricked at the spot. And it's easy to get tricked out your spot. It's easy to get tricked out your spot by simple ways of today are relationships. Where people will not want to be lonely and jump into a relationship when it's just the same energy in a different body. Yes. And until you master yourself and you're patient and you waiting on God to send you that person that's meant for you, you can fall into a trap. So I hope he did. 'Cause I don't want to bust him in his face. Are you being not busting in his face? I'm just being overly dramatic, of course. Um, oh my god, that shit went straight to my brain. Whew, straight to the brain. So yeah, I'm hoping and praying and wishing and not really, but oh, what's meant for me for sure. It's gonna be tricky. It's just gonna take a lot of people to mind their business and work on them. Take the good and what works for you and leave the rest. It's going to take a lot of that. No, pineapple does not belong on pizza. When you trick the mind with sweet and things that are not sweet, that's you're messing with your chemical balance. So a lot of those people have hormonal imbalance. It's a part of playing with your mind. Dr. Sebi talks about that. So if you go look up Dr. D E Sebi DSEBI, Dr. Sebi, he explains a lot of that. So it's going to take a lot of you going to do your own research as well. Both. What do you mean night showers or morning showers? Some of y'all out there making videos, shout out to y'all because I would never know shit if I wouldn't have watched some of y'all videos. I would have never known it. It's hot. It's hot. Trolling. I see they trolling. They hating. Trying to catch me riding dirty. Trying to catch me riding dirty. Trying to get hey. What's up, trolling? I'm just all out. They hating. believe my doppelganger has stepped in the building. I do not have a TikTok, thank God. My Instagram is not even active. I'm not active on it. I'll tell y'all that much. We're gonna go out and change your emblem again and come back in trolling. People are obsessed for all the wrong reasons. I believe my doppelganger, if my doppelganger, she would be on some Selena stuff. Y'all know what I mean? That shit cray. That shit. I ain't gonna lie. I see somebody that looked like her a couple weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago. I was like, I just answered the question. I said, damn. Tell they related. Yeah. Oh my God. Oh. Oh. Whew. I think breathing just makes wasabi worse. I think it makes it that much hotter. Y'all, my plant-based chicken meat that I made, I should have boiled it. I was not thinking. I was just like, I'm gonna bake it, I'm gonna cook it, and that's gonna be that, right? I should have boiled it. And the next batch I will boil because this batch that I made, I fried some. I put some teriyaki sauce in the pan. I just kind of let it soak it up a little bit. And then I rinse the pan out. And then I heat up some oil. And I let it slow fry. It's like, it's LXT tamales. I used to eat them back in the day, right? Then tamales, it tastes like that. I was like, interesting flavor. What I mean with the mushroom, got a little bit of that meat texture, but then it kind of just melts in your mouth. And that's exactly what it did right. Very interesting. So I can really use that for some tamales or just like maybe some taco meat too. It's kind of spicy. I made it a bit spicy. It's a bit spicy. And I want to use those on days like I want spicy. I don't want spicy every day, but I do like spicy. And it is cayenne spicy. Y'all, look, let me tell y'all, I watched this movie. I was shook. What is that movie called? Witches? Y'all, movie with Chris Rock in it. I don't know when that movie came out. It probably came out some years ago. But that movie tripped me out because it's way different. It's way different from the original movie. But It's very interesting. And how the lady was describing the witches, all done the Grand High Witch, talking about they bald headed, they ain't got no fucking edges, and they don't got toenails. I was like, oh my god. I was like, oh my god, this shit is crazy. It was very interesting though. And this moon, I guess in, so I mean that would be Isis. Would it be Isis? Well, they all like mothering energy, like segment that's mamas do when they turn up for their children. I'm just saying, don't help me help the bear. But I see, ooh, that's cute. I kind of like that. I want what I want. I like what I like. I really, damn, that shit looks bomb as fuck. Hold on, wait a minute. A mold. I think that's another mold. Yes. Oh, that's that song. I kept hearing the song. My endless love, and I'll be the fool for you. I learned this shit before I could open my eyes. I was like, what the hell is going on? I was hearing it so vividly, and before I could open my eyes. The only thing that's around. Look the page on some right here. My first love, you're every breath that I take. You every, you every step I make. And I'll be able to share my life. Tell me how much you care. And still always be my endless love. I'll be the fool for you. But you know I don't mind. You know how to be. I'm like, you know what's crazy too? I mean, when I get when I get back on watching YouTube and I see some videos, I'm like, damn, I was getting that download. It's kind of fucking crazy. But then I remember what I was saying about dream sharing. Like the movie The Dark Crystal. For those who are on the frequency, you get the message. So there's nothing new on the sun. Damn. There's nothing new in this world. So y'all have to understand that there's intuitiveness, and then there's just, there's so many different flows to intuitiveness. It can be by word of mouth, it can be by showing a video, it can be by auditory, um, telepathy. It's all telepathic, really, right? It can be by astral projecting, just being nosy up in somebody's business. Some people do shit like that, right? And I don't want to think about that. I really don't. Hold on. So I just went from one thing to a whole another. But yes, forgiveness and healing, like y'all, on a whole nother level, little, on a whole nother little. You know what's crazy? Like, I think this is so crazy. Like, dude, they are deporting Asians and shit, Hispanics. I, I think in Arabs, I think this is so fucking crazy. I'm not racist, but for real, do they ever reflect where the hell would they go back to? Is they agenda? What is they really trying to do? I want to pull some cards. It's a clips. I don't even give a fuck right now. And then September is the cold ass month. This is, boy, you talking about a month to like support black only owned businesses right now. In this month, and there's a lunar eclipse. Do y'all know letting old shit go, how detrimental this energy is gonna be? It's gonna be very volatile to these motherfuckers. They gonna be hurt. They gonna be so hurt. Like, this is reversing everything that they've done wrongfully to us, actually. Um and it's a good thing. It may not feel right, but it's actually a good thing. I should have known something was up when I came across the video. Um, but I mean, it's a peaceful way of, you know, like return to sender. It's that type of peaceful eclipse that's happening, but it's going to be very volatile. What happens in the spiritual is going to happen in the physical. So now it's happening in the physical. These motherfuckers, they gonna be feeling this shit. They not gonna like the residual results. They not gonna like it.
You see the individual that is asking person to mention culture. See the things he's mentioning as culture. Don't piss me off. They can look at work ethics and they say, yes, Haitians, I know them. Service industry, they know where they do well. You see the individual that is asking person to mention culture. See the things he's mentioning as culture. Don't piss me off. Just don't piss me off. Is that why the civil rights movement is considered dead? It's dead and useless. Oh, old age brings wisdom. Not all the time. What an elder sees when he is sitting on the ground, if you climb an iroko tree, you will not see it. That elder, if he even still climb that tree with you,
it's still not going to see she buying. I want to prefix this video by saying to my African American brothers and sisters, this man you're going to be seeing this video is not a representation of all of us, all Africans.
Ditto. Oh, Jesus. I love her channel. She is really like authentic and for real. Like, I felt bad. I felt bad for some things I said about any and every race, even my own people, but it be facts. And it's just, you know what I'm saying, everybody that's on their own timeline, we can't change them, we can't make them change, but we gonna be the fucking change, but everybody can't go with you. Everybody can't go. Everybody cannot go with you. It's just the fact. You're going to cry about it. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay, y'all. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. Because still, the cycle continues. The good.
Anytime I come by him, he pisses me off. If it's not degrading Africans and talking about how our forefathers...
What is it about your ancestors that makes you proud to be black?
Aside from being the forerunners of civilization, of course, they didn't go around the world plundering, colonizing, and enslaving people, just being, psychotic, bloodthirsty maniacs. That makes me very proud, actually. I sleep soundly at night knowing that my ancestors were not barbarians. But since we're talking about inventions here specifically, I want to ask this man of black African people to come proud to be black and African. Because you see, this man is old. He has more years behind him than he does in front of him. Any moment now, Alai will become an ancestor. And that's why I want to know, as a soon-to-be ancestor that he is, what has he done to make sure that the Africans to come, the black people to come, would be proud to be African and black? Because here he attributed anything, they have not done anything historical, and even till date, they are not doing anything. When we know that's a lie. Yeah, I've actually made 1 or 2 videos in some ish. He's always onto some bull. Now, it's not enough that he has been, dragging us Africans down, right? Because in my humble opinion, from where I'm sitting, when I listen to the things he says, he's always bringing us down, right? So it's not enough that he has been doing that. Now
he's shit. Oh, they can come get all this shit. They can come take all their fucking technology and they can just shove it. But you know what's very interesting? I was watching a Dre OG video, and the conversation that this man had with AI was interesting. But needless to say, yeah, some things can be manipulated by some people, but I don't know. Me and Google, the type like a motherfucker like this. Like, in the beginning of my way, a little bit of everything. We just have to decipher what works best for not only just us, for everybody else, and use that in discernment when you use these devices. That's what it boils down to. Seeing the truth and the lie, and that's pretty much it.
Americans in this country are the only groups, they have no culture.
Because if it wouldn't have been the truth about what Google had told me, they wouldn't have been hiding the shit after the thing and tapping into my fucking phone, deleting pictures and having pictures taken of where the hell
where you meet them.
But currently there's not an African American culture.
No.
Saying that they don't have culture is crazy because they do
Nigga,
have
what?
culture. So let me just make it perfectly clear that they do. Now, him may not see what they call their culture as their culture, but it's not for him to decide whether or not you agree with what they say their culture is irrelevant here. Just because this culture don't look like what you culture. Why would you now think it's okay to come on a podcast to be talking about how they don't have a culture, knowing their history? They do have a culture, but I'm saying, let's say they don't for a moment. Knowing their history, we should understand why. If they don't, they don't. We're talking about descendants of people kidnapped. They were forced to let go of their traditional names. Their cultures were stripped off of them. Their religious practices were stripped off of them. So, of course, because all of these things unfortunately happened to these people, they lost their ancestral culture, the ancestral way of life of their people. So, for you, why is that something that maybe they should be shamed for? Why is that something that you are talking about on a podcast? What does that have to do with you? What it concern you for the matter if they don't have culture? What it concern you for the matter, at your big age, that you are on a podcast?
I'm glad she brought that up because a lot of these old things will not be currently existing. Not so much not currently, the factual things, if we want to make it logical and not spiritual, of what's going on. So things of old will not work in today's society simply because of how it was demonized. The truth is now coming out and being exposed. So the truth, you can't hide the truth. Especially when somebody, I'm still going to thrive on faith and good works. Simply because I want a firm foundation. I want a stable foundation. No matter how they have ridiculed me, no matter how they have ostracized me, no matter what they have done. Fuck them motherfuckers. Whether they look like me or not, I don't give a damn. Whether they young or they old, I don't give a damn. What energy are they resonating in? That vibration will attract to you. You have to learn to discern and figure out and understand that what's meant for you, nobody can take. Period. They can try to delay, you know what I mean? But once you get, you get your groove on, ain't nothing stopping you. Whew. Trust me, I'm fighting one of the biggest beasts of the fucking system there is. Actually, the whole fucking system. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. That's for sure. Especially when you have people fucking stalking you on goddamn your motherfucking YouTube channel and whatever type of channel. Then they try to make a double of your fucking of your shit and make money off of it. They trifling.
The video is not even African American. Why are you speaking about these people behind? They are not there. In their absence, you are talking about them and their lack of culture without them to even defend themselves or share with you what their culture is. Yes, there is.
What is it? Name two value systems in the African American culture.
Value systems?
Yes. Name two taboos in the African American culture system. Name two traditions, by the way, in the African American culture system.
Two traditions. Go to New Orleans.
Because you motherfuckers don't lie so much, people are hella fucking confused. But I understand her logic is on point for real. And ultimately, it's gonna end up in everybody taking accountability. This is why this divide is happening for unity. This part of the divide is happening for unity, ultimately. And it depends upon how people use it, which a lot of people are using it for good ethic reasons, right? And then you will have those who will try to capitalize on it in the negative invocation of card, ultimately. So
remain for them. If you want to know about these people's culture, you can speak to them. Why are we acting as if they are some kind of alien species somewhere, like far away in space, that we cannot have access to and ask them questions if we truly want to learn, right? If we truly want to know. And this is why I know that for the majority of people who say these things, it's not coming from a good place. It's not coming from a place of I want to know, I'm curious. It's coming from a place of I'm better than you, I have a culture you don't. Just because you don't know about their adages or their parables or taboos, don't mean they are not there.
I mean, we can start right there for real. Like I said, people taking accountability and being exposed.
Like, what is wrong with people? And we also have to put into consideration that a lot of American culture are very mainstream. So a lot of people across the globe participate in African American culture one way or another, right? So because they are like very mainstream, I think that's the reason why, one of the reasons why, certain things that could have been categorized as maybe adages or parables or whatnot would not fall under that category right now, because it's basically like mainstream, everybody's using it. And I'll give you an example. You say about coons, right? In my head, when I think about what that word symbolizes and the weight it kind of carries, at least to me, that's a word that I would categorize under some kind of like, African American word with deep meaning that the ancestors pass on from generation to generation. And by ancestors right now, I'm talking about like, ancestors from the African American people. Because if you think about the word coon, that's a word that they crafted out. It's not an English word.
She's smart.
I mean, it's a word you find in the English dictionary. C-O-O-N, you find that word in the dictionary. But, the coon in the African American vernacular, that word coon means something totally different and has a more deeper meaning than the, coon you find in the English dictionary, right? And if you look at the origin of the meaning of that word and the historical, energy behind it, the historical context behind what the word symbolizes and what a coon means, right? And what it takes to be a coon, you would find that like it's deep. And what it takes to be a coon, you would find that like it's deep, right? It's deep. And when you look at what we call like African adages or proverbs or whatnot, that's a word that not only has it been used to pass messages on to people in the African American community, it's also a word that has been used to give advice. So you can hear someone tell you, oh, don't be a coon. That sounds like something that's an elder have in the African American culture. Really now, when you think about it, being a coon, we can categorize that as a taboo. You see what I'm saying?
But here's the thing. We are of a peaceful race. But we can bring down the fucking house though. Y'all look up, I forgot what the channel is. I'm gonna have to put it on this phone so we can go over that video. But we were considered like the blue race, right? The peaceful, calm, loving people. And then there was another race that came that was the red. This is where they get Crips and Bloods from. The Reds were not of a peaceful race. Y'all think about who that is. And create chaos, war, and all these other. So what they did was enslave and entrap us and pretty much brainwashed us from being on that frequency, because it's a higher frequency. When they took us from the higher frequency, we descended down into a lower vibrational frequency. And so, in other words, we became like them. But when we could raise our frequency back up, we're more powerful. But it's like, I'm not a killer, but don't push me. If I got to them, my hands on it's a different story. But we choose peace as power over any and everything for real. Just because in a household with like my arch nemesis type energy, like it's fucked up when you think about it. That's why, the childhood trauma is there in what it is. So, just needless to say, I wasn't right. I mean, I wasn't wrong. I was definitely right. I don't like to say and make it seem like I'm being boastful and bragging, but I was right in this case. So it's like, in how many other cases was this energy correct in? Don't get it wrong. I've been wrong before. But for the most part, peacefully speaking, from an intuitive side, it was worse than what I would think it would be. And nobody wants to be right about that.
Because being a coon is bad. Being a coon, in my humble opinion, is an abomination. Because you are a disgrace to the community if you are a coon. That's a taboo. It should be a taboo to be a coon. And just to be clear, this is not me,
Go like, subscribe, and share her channel as well. She's a great person.
Putting myself into this situation and saying, I'm going to be the one to educate anyone on African American culture or tell people that this should be a taboo, coon should be a taboo. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when we look at how cultures are structured and different aspects of cultures, right? What rules look like, right? What adages look like and how they are put together. There are some things I have seen, some aspects of African American culture that I've seen in my head. I would think, this is kind of like an adage. This is kind of like a proverb or a taboo, like the coon example I'm using. So I'm not saying that this is, because I don't know. I'm just.
Well, let me explain this. The things you see down in New Orleans, they let people keep that because, what did we just go over the other day? They poisoned alcohol because they wanted to drive down the population and everything, right? They feel like that is a way of population control. I want to speak on that story, but not. But they just had a whole incident to where somebody from the military was down there mowing down people in a fucking truck or whatever during Mardi Gras. We, as Egyptians, the indigenous to the United States, are still displaced simply because we don't live on our reservations. We have not been given those reparations that are owed to us. They gave it to the population in which they raped and pillaged us from. Like, they give it to them, not to the rightful owners of the tribes, to say the least.
Saying that, okay, like, this could be, this looks like to me. So just because maybe it don't look like to this man, don't mean that it's probably not, right? And of course, the floor is still open for African American people to please educate us on the taboos that you guys have in your culture, because hell, I want to learn, right? And I think another thing that makes this situation like hard for the people who it's hard for to understand the African American culture is because they are maybe speaking English. This is no justification or anything. It's just like from my observation.
Because the way that they put it in the history books is as we're Africans, as if we came from Africa. They talk about the Indians briefly, but they don't really explain how this was Egypt, and they don't tell the truth. Ultimately, so there's a lot of distortion that way, and really African ancestors are part of the colonization and the depopulation of Egyptians.
Right? I think the fact that, like, when people think culture, especially from the African perspective, they are thinking, oh, if you are going to say something, maybe you are going to say it in your native language, or they are looking for like a native, traditional, in the traditional way that they know, the traditional sense that they know of. They are looking for it in that. Aside the family way in the African American culture, and because they cannot find it the way they think it should be, now they're like, they don't have a culture, and it's just very wrong. It's a very narrow-minded way of approaching these things, in my humble opinion. So to me personally, the way I see it is about being able to open your mind and looking at these things from the perspective you're supposed to be looking at it from. Because see, when I think of stitches get stitches, that seemed like to me.
Just a side note, these wasabi peas have potassium.
It's something that can be, let me not say should be, because I have no right to determine anything here, right? So,
for freedom, if you don't understand what it is, the concept of free, you have to have a foundation on which it would balance.
What the fuck, nigga? Look. Those crickets were the most appropriate sound that it could have sounded at that particular moment for that reason. Why? Simply because what the fuck do you mean, nigga? Like, you pretty much saying that we need to be back in slavery? Because we don't know, nigga? What? Excuse me? Excuse you, because that's insane. We got women around here hating themselves, wanting to be a fucking white person because they don't know who the fuck they are. The fuck? And within the slave trade, they own people out to get that shit done. Or unalive people, like, on some real shit. There's people out here that are waiting and willing and ready to go that extra mile just to. And it's like, what? Do you know what kind of more ignorance you are actually perpetuating and you insinuating on, which would be the aspects of what they're trying to uphold? Because they don't want the truth to come out. So, don't look to our elders for fucking guidance. That's all I can say. Not this type.
Foundation which the freedom you're asking for will be balanced on when you are giving your freedom. What does that even mean? What foundation are we balancing freedom on now?
Civil rights. They give it to you. You have no culture.
What does civil rights have to do with culture, though? Like, even if you lack a culture, they don't. I want to say it very clearly, they don't. They do have a culture. But let's say you don't have a culture. What does not having a culture have to do with your freedom? Even if one don't have a culture,
First of all, his ignorant ass in the 14th, 15th, and 16th Amendment or whatever, it states in there the civil rights was based off of our culture and suppressing our culture. That's exactly what these laws in the United States were created off of, was to suppress the people that are indigenous to this land, especially the women, because they know where the energy comes from.
Should be free. They can't be free. Is he trying to say, yes, he's insinuating that if you don't have culture, you can't have freedom? You would not know what to do with your freedom? Like, what is this man saying? Am I the one who's so dumb here? Is this a me problem, or is it, You guys let me know if you can make sense of this in the comment section, because like this is insane to me.
This is that. I want to reiterate. We cannot make sense of this ignorance and what these people want to perpetuate and hold on to. We cannot make sense of a sick society. We cannot make sense of people that want to hurt people that want to hurt people. We cannot make sense of this. We cannot make sense of, this is why they want to keep it going. The only way to understand it is just respect the energy for what it is. Respect him for what he believes in and where he stands on that. His actions are going to speak louder than his words.
It really is.
Nancy, you've been here, born here. Why would you be surprised if I say African Americans don't have a culture? What, twerking?
Very funny he mentioned twerking. You said this is what... It's not everybody that you see that have gray hair. He don't, because he shaved his head, right? It's not everybody that you see that have gray hair. And I mean this with the utmost respect I can possibly have for this individual, because quite frankly, like, it pisses me off, and my respect is not that much, but I'm trying, because they say we're supposed to respect our elders. I mean, that's what they taught us. So, with the utmost respect that I can give, just because somebody have gray hair don't mean they have sense. I'm speaking on it.
Respecting where he at. Cause he ain't an elder. He ain't nothing to follow after. No, not at all. The elders are the ones coming with the wisdom and the knowledge and the decoding. That's it. That's the elders. Our youngins are the elders. These old fools ain't got shit. Like, if they're still off an old paradigm and old timeline like this fool, hell no. That's what I'm saying.
Very generic term right now. Because this man just mentioned twerking. And to him, that's no culture. Which is funny to me as an African. Because in a lot of our traditional dances, we twerk. It's not called twerking in Africa, though. In the various African cultures where women and men, by the way, shake their bum bum when they are doing their traditional dances, these dances have their own name depending on the culture. So I just find it interesting how we don't see twerking as culture when we twerk and it's culture. Just like in the African cultures, we have shaking bum bum dances and we have names for these dances, right? Twerking is the African American name for shaking bum bum.
And they perverted it. When they perverted it is when it became looked down upon, is when it became uncultural to say that it's uncultural. That's actually a spiritual thing. Dancing is very much spiritual. I love dancing, y'all. I love dancing. I love singing. It's toxic to a perversion that came and said, you got too much of that. Or you know how to move that too well. Let's call this perverted. Let's make it a perverted. Let's, to the energy and perversion, because the lack of self-control, the lack of respect to women. Get the fuck out of here.
Traditional, like the kind of traditional names you would hear for the shaking bum bum dances we have in Africa. So this is once again what I was saying when I say some people have a very narrow-minded way of looking at things. And also, it's mainstream. Everybody now is shaking their bum bum on the internet. So that can't possibly be culture to him.
So anything
but I feel like African American culture has definitely
say her type of side of piece. Like, he don't know how to shut the fuck up. This is a problem with the aspects of conversing, communicating, This is the aspects of someone that does not respect a woman. It's a man talking to a woman about what women do.
How am I even supposed to answer that question now? I'm thinking about it in this moment. Urobo culture, what is it? I know about the things, aspects of our culture. But if you ask me what is our culture, I don't know, quite frankly, how to answer that question. I really don't. So how is he even expecting her to answer the question? Because what is the definition of culture? Maybe that's where we should even start from. Let's start with the definition of the word culture. What is the definition of that word? Culture is the way of life of a people. That's it. How these people live their life, that is their culture. So it's pretty simple. I don't know what this man is looking for. Their music, their language, how they dress.
Okay.
Like hip hop. Oh, not hip hop. I mean, I don't want to.
No, don't take that back. Hip hop is actually culture. That's a genre of music that was carefully created put together by a particular group of people. It is their tune. They created this. It was born from them. They bettered this, right? So it is part of their culture.
Like I'll tell y'all, a lot of how I manifest is through music. Music and dance. Getting that energy flow. That manifestation. Come on now. It's a natural given talent.
Just because it doesn't sound like high life. Or it doesn't sound like Igbabanelu. That don't mean it's not culture. Again, culture is the way of life of a people. So they created this. It is their culture because it is mainstream. Because everybody now is doing hip hop. Because everybody now is wearing a do-rag. That don't mean it's not culture again, okay? This is why people talk about gatekeeping. Because you see what's happening now. I know it's hard in 2025. You can't always gatekeep some of these things, right? But this is what happens when, everybody's doing this thing. When everybody has access to this thing, it stops being, a we thing. And I'm saying we now, I'm not saying African hip-hop belongs to Africans or Nigerians, no. I'm saying like when you have an aspect of your culture that is not protected, basically, that everybody can just come in and do whatever. We see it belongs to everybody. I'm not saying hip-hop belongs to everybody. Because you can understand what I mean. What I'm trying to say is like when a particular culture just everybody has access to it.
And I want to tell y'all something. If it was not a white bat, it was a white owl. And when I see that, something about to happen. I don't know.
The may tend to stop looking like to people, some people, the culture that it is. Because now everybody's doing it, it's everywhere. This is a problem. And it really is sad.
Look,
yes, I feel like
you haven't thought about it. It's fine. Don't make things up.
I'm not making it up.
Okay,
I feel like
you feel. You should know. You were born and raised here.
It's just sad because I feel like
you feel you don't know. She's a woman. Her woman's intuition is telling her like you full of shit. Like you being disrespectful now. You just making me second guess my intuition. I want to know what she about to say.
The lady in question wants to defend the African American culture, but it seems like she cannot find the right words to describe why she feels that hip hop is African American culture. And I think the struggle she's having is what I said earlier, right? That culture is the way of life of a people. So because culture is the way of life of a people, it's not very easy for you to say, this is African American culture because there's so many aspects of the culture.
Yes, but I have
Are you African American?
I'm Haitian American.
That's correct. Do you see why you were being specific with that? Because anybody who encounters you already knows you before. If they know you are Haitian, at least two things come to their mind.
What is that? Listen to the things this man is about to mention as Haitian culture.
The motherfuckers asked me if I was Haitian. I asked you who was your mother.
Now tell me if those things don't exist in the African American culture. So you will see that some people, if not be, I'm finding it.
Be nice. I'm finding it. It take you that long to find it? It does.
It's hard. Let's just continue.
And they say, yes, Haitians, I know them.
Work ethics is Asian culture. So African Americans, they're not a work need. If we want to categorize work ethics as culture now, who not they work for this planet? Work ethics. What next?
When service industry, they know where they do well.
Service industry. I can't. You see the individual that is asking person to mention culture.
African Americans in this country are the only groups, they have no culture.
You see the things he's mentioning as culture. Don't piss me off. Just don't piss me off. Like, you quite literally cannot make this issue up. Just listen to the individual that's talking about how African Americans don't have culture. It's starting to look like, it be like, say, you don't even know what the culture be. Oh, old age brings wisdom. Not all the time. What an elder sees when he is sitting on the ground, if you climb an iroko tree, you will not see it. That elder, if he will still climb that tree with you, he's still not going to see shit buying. So African Americans are not in the service industry. If they are, meaning is their culture. Okay, let's move on. We have seen cultures now so far, okay.
Food, they can say yes. And even language, Creole.
Okay, so now we have food and language. Which?
Creole. Okay. Creole. Remember, you said Creole. Creoles was created by the ones that came and raped and pillaged. That's how Creoles came about. Like, you bitch ass nigga, what? Excuse me, sir? No, excuse yourself, because that's some bullshit. Like, what the fuck? Who are you to say you don't even know how the hell Creole came about? A Creole person. My grandpa was Creole. Boy,
they do. I mentioned Golagishi earlier. It's a language. AABE is a language. Gola Gishi is actually, some kind of Creole as well, if I'm not mistaken. So,
because the Creoles, who they called the house niggas, for real. They around the same area as the poor, or what they call the poor Caucasians, like what they call trailer trash, or what they call like the unrich of white folk. Like, that's how they were treated, just a step above, to keep the other ones in line. This motherfucker is retarded. He don't know what he's talking about. He's slow on his own level. Hopefully he'll get caught up to speed.
He mentioned Creole.
Right. And they can say, oh, I love Haitians. Because they saw the culture in abstract before they encountered you. Mm-hmm. So people go over the bridge of your culture, your tradition, your customs, and that helps them to know how to address it. Exactly. To say to you, any people who ask for these things, which are abstract, freedom, for example, independence, for example, and civil right, for example, voting right, for example, you must have a foundation on which these things are going to balance. because the people there have to uniformly agree with consensus. This is our way of life, the do's and the don'ts involved in our culture.
So, from where I can see, Africans and Indians, which are Egyptians of the United States, in those areas were mating, were reproducing, children. And then when you have settlers, the colonizers come in and rape these people. They made Geechees. If you know how to follow the culture and what happened and how it happened in areas in which it happened, you'll be able to follow the timeline and see who's mixed with what and what was going on in what era and what's in their bloodline and what's not.
Even you have to create an artificial culture.
Which is what they did. They created a culture, their own culture. One that you have refused to acknowledge.
They had to create a culture because they were forced to not know their culture.
And no, it's not an artificial culture. And I know he did not specifically call their culture an artificial culture because, hell, he's not even acknowledged their culture, right?
And then they came out of rape from a culture of an indigenous folk of the land. And when I tell you them people got some type of blood in them that is not right, it won't be right until the generational curses are broken off of every single last one of our generational lineages because of what these colonizers did. You got to break and come out of that. It's like we are literally shaking and breaking the bars, the box off of the creation in which it was not made for, this false matrix. It was not supposed to be made for what they used it for. They colonized everything. They colonized the animals. They colonized the people. They pillaged and plundered everything.
Just saying, I don't agree with the artificial in his statements. If they created it, it's authentic. This is their culture. So I don't get why he would say, well, even if it's an artificial culture, like what culture is, what does it even mean by that? An artificial culture, what does that mean? Which culture is artificial? Which one is real? Which one is authentic? If we want to start going with this artificial, if you're saying an artificial, meaning their real culture, this one is fake. Is he saying, okay, if they have to create a culture by themselves, different from their ancestral culture from the continent, it's going to be an artificial culture? No, it's not. And I'm speaking like this right now, playing into what he's saying. I don't believe they already have a culture. Let's be clear. I've been trying to be clear on that from the very beginning. I'm going by where he is coming from, right? If they are going to have to create a culture because they have been removed from their ancestral culture, it's still going to be authentic. It's still going to be very much valid, very much 100% real, and should be
I wouldn't agree with that necessarily because of how slavery went and the trauma that was poured into the blood. The division and the split within self happened to so many people all over the world that it's ridiculous. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that because on a deeper level, when we think about it, on a spiritual level, the trauma is still alive today. The trauma is still perpetuated through paperwork.
Culture.
On purpose.
Why? Because at the end of the day, however they're going to go about creating this, their new culture, and have gone to create their culture, that we know of today, people with sense acknowledge, it's the exact same way our ancestors created culture, their cultures before. So these are things that people decided upon. So the way it's talking about it, artificial, using that term, which, vice versa, is implying that there is an authentic one. Is him speaking as if the way culture comes about, there is like some kind of divinity that drops the real one, and when you are not following that one as per the ways of your ancestors for whatever reason, whatever it is you come about is going to be artificial. And it just doesn't sit right with my spirit. It just don't. And I know I went on a tangent here, but just want to get that out. And he's back to all this whole thing about like freedom, and if you don't have where to put it, as far with culture to put it, it's just a whole mess.
Is that why the civil rights movement is considered dead?
It's dead and useless. They got it, but they could not balance it on any foundation.
Very rich of him saying that being an African in the US of A, benefiting off of the fights, the struggles of the African American people during the civil rights movement. Like, people like this really annoy me, honestly. How can you say it's dead? You are literally living it.
Because systematically, all they had to do was say, okay, yes, we agree upon this on paperwork, but if you can't catch me in a lie and you don't have the money to take me to court for it, then, oh well. We're still going to do what we want to do, which is ultimately the grievance with the 40 acres and a mule. They still could not even come up with the most minute of promises out of the pillaging and the plundering and which they did. And they did more than that. All the fucking history and what they've done through the different continents, that's as a fucking whole. That is their lineage. That's their fucking culture. And that's the problem. And that's why everything is happening the way that it is, and it will continue to bust down and be broken down and be dismantled completely and utterly. Yes. So that, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit's going to come back into balance because they made it so unbalanced. When you think of everything that they now put into the movies, from documents and scripts and shit that they held and they hold they've been holding on to and fucking, you know, passing down by tradition, by word of mouth, to keep this shit going, to work as a hive mentality. Yeah. And it only takes somebody to be that fucked up to be like, oh, well, fuck you. I don't give a damn. Yeah, it is what it is.
You are literally benefiting off of the civil rights, but it's dead. He even called it useless. I really don't know what else to say at the end of this video. I just wish people like him would just stop. Like, stop with the ignorance. Just stop it.
So, yeah. But I'm glad I did, like, really listen to that whole video, simply because it was necessary. The ignorance of people. And let's take it back. Where was Adam created? In Africa. Well, no. Adam created another being in Africa. is what happened. That being ran rapid, chaotic, all over, up and through these continents, which is their culture. And that's the truth. And ultimately, they don't want to own up to their truth. They don't want to claim their truth. They just want to honor their truth in secret and not take accountability. Oh, they're not taking accountability. It's okay. It's going to show and prove for everything in which, you know, they're going to have to ultimately pay for.
Someone, okay? Somebody cannot keep their story straight about you. They can. They keep changing their story. And people are finally starting to see the truth. And the good thing about this is you didn't try to defend yourself. You didn't try to throw the person under the bus. You didn't bring out receipts, nothing, because God has told you. Shh. And we talked about that the other day, where I said that although I don't talk about celebrities, there was a specific person that went through this and he was silent, worked on himself, and then the truth came out. And I said, this happens to so much of God's anointed. It does. And one of the hardest things you can do is to stay quiet in the midst of people dragging your name through the mud. But your name always ends up growing into a fruitful tree. You know that, right? Yeah, it does. Because when you're obedient, when you listen to God and He tells you specific things.
I just recently started watching her videos, and I was so triggered by her before. I believe she's a really, really kind, loving person. But what triggered me was she looks so much like the daughter-in-law I had. I just couldn't watch her. I just couldn't. I was just like, it would get to me how some people that are so beautiful can be so fucking ugly. You know what I mean? And that just, and I think maybe, probably since then she's gone through her own energy shift. And maybe it was something like that. Maybe it was just energetic, but I think it was probably just a bit of both. But I just couldn't. I think it was probably something else too. I just can't remember at this moment, but I believe she's so beautiful.
That you need to do, and you
naturally.
Do it, you are always going to be rewarded, but you're always going to be vindicated. One of the reasons why silence is so wise, and it talks about this in Proverbs as well, silence is so wise when you need to be. Because there are times where God will tell you to speak. But this is where you have to test the spirit and you have to go to God and you have to say, God, is this the right time for me to speak or should I just stay silent? Okay? But silence is so wise at times.
Screenshot.
Because what the enemy will try to do is they will try to get a reaction out of you. They will. The book of James talks about being slow to anger. See, when you are silent in the midst of someone trying to tear you apart,
and this also made me laugh too, because I was like, this is so true. This was like another confirmation after I had made the video. I was like, thank you, God. I got the message. I got the confirmation on top of the confirmation, and it was good. It is good. Will be good all the time. And I was just like, just misguidance, we want the best for people, but we can't make them understand shit. So all we can do is be the good example of what is.
That is being slow to anger. That is. knows that if they keep poking you, you will eventually have an outburst. And here's the thing. It's okay if you've had an outburst and you have yelled at them or flipped tables like Jesus. It's okay if you have days like this. It's okay if you have days like this because God knows that if you're provoked constantly, it can definitely squeeze a reaction out of you. That's why the Bible also says parents do not provoke your children because the Lord knows what provoking can do, right? And provoking is like a manipulative tactic. It's called reactive abuse. The Bible says be slow to anger.
Reactive abuse.
It doesn't say you're not allowed to be angry because God knows that anger is a natural part of our emotions. There is a such thing as called righteous anger, and Jesus had that when he flipped tables. But he was slow to be angered. It's like God is slow to anger. So God tells us we have to be slow to anger. And when you're silent and you allow God to fight for you, that is teaching you what? Self-control. And that is one of the keys of the fruit of the Spirit, self-control. Now, if you were like silent for a while and then you snapped at someone after being poked for many months or many years, listen, don't beat yourself up. Repent, ask God to help you, and continue forward. Don't beat yourself up. God does not want us to be angry. Anger does not show the righteousness of God. And it talks about this in the book of James. Anger does not show the righteousness of God. And that's why God says be slow to anger. He didn't say not be angry, he said be slow to anger. Okay? Because you have been this way. And you have been very, very content and humble, even when you have been more hurt. The Lord is vindicating you. See, when you are slow to speak, what happens is the person that is consistently poking you and waiting for you to stop, they don't have nothing else to run on other than their lives. See, when you give them a reaction, then they can add on things to their lives. They can make up new things. And they will twist whatever reaction you are giving them. That is that Leviathan spirit. So if you snap at them and you yell at them and say, ooh, I just want to fight you, and you pull a Nehemiah. So I was on TikTok the other day, and one of my sisters in Christ bursting them and everything like that. And I was trying so hard not to laugh, but I screamed because I'm like, oh my gosh, that's how many people back in the day, maybe not cursing people, I can't speak for me, but I used to be pulling out hairs and stuff like that. I was like, oh. But God tamed me, okay? I'm pretty sure he tamed many of you guys. But I couldn't help but laugh, right? But you see, when you are not pulling a Nehemiah and pulling out people's hair, and you're not doing that, like, they can't twist that reaction. See, had you did that, they would be like, yeah, she pulled my hair, and she said this, and she did. They would add on a bunch more lies. So you can't give people who are trying to see you low and trying to see you down, you can't give them any diesel. You can't give them any diesel. Let them run dry. And what happens when they run dry, they go back to their original lies, and they add on stuff to their original lies. They add on stuff, or they try to repeat it, and then the story completely changes. And then the people who listen to these lies, they will start to be like, but didn't you say that? Didn't you say that? You get what I'm saying? And that's why God says stay silent. Because the enemy will always dig a pit for himself, herself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is another way of God with peace. Without you having to lay a victim, you have to stay clear. Okay? And you have to understand something. The reason why people do this in the first place is because they see that you have something that's evil. That's why people randomly just message you without you having to say anything. That's why people who you've never had a conversation with, that's why they have to spew lies about you. That's why family members have to twist things about your life, twist things about your testimony, speak lies about you. Because there's something in you that they see that they want but they don't have. They see greatness within you. They see you're a go-getter. They see that you have purpose in life. The problem is that because they don't believe and they're stuck in their ways and they deny their own feelings of envy, their own feelings of hatred. Now they want to have what you have. Now they want to go to the extreme to destroy you. Because had they confronted that spirit from the very beginning and dealt with it from the very beginning, it would have fled. The Bible said, resist the enemy and he will flee. I'm going to read the scripture for you. This is in the book of James. God gave me James last night, so y'all got to see a lot of James today. If you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts. What is ambition? Ambition is something that you thrive. Ambition is like the motivation, the boost. So if somebody has hatred, jealousy, and envy in their heart, that means that that's their boost. That should never be anybody's boost. Okay? But if you harbor bitter envy and selfish ambition in your hearts, do not boast about it or deny the truth. That is very important. Do not deny the truth. When you start to deny how you truly feel inside, you know what you do? You come into agreement with that spirit. It's almost like you're saying, yes, I feel my body is a home. And then that spirit gets comfortable. It starts moving in and things. What do I mean by things? I'm not talking about couches, furniture.
I've been, and I know it's not my energy, but what's crazy is it's somebody else's energy. And I know it's not me because that in a couple of months, it'll be a whole year that I've been feeling this feeling. And I know the feelings are not mine. They're projections from somebody else. And I've seen this person in my dreams. And what's crazy is like that energy, that entity is some crazy shit. Because you have to think about it, for this person or whatever to have everything that they really need and don't want for nothing, but for them to be wanting to siphon off of your energy, wanting to doppelgang you and do X, Y, and Z to you and about you, it speaks a lot about what they're being influenced by. So you have to think about that. Damn.
For where there is envy and selfish ambition, there you will find disorder in every evil practice. Meaning, people that allow that spirit to take over them because they deny the truth, there will always be disorder in their life. Everything they do, there will be some sort of disorder. Okay? Because they're not filled with the right spirit. Now it says here, number 4, what causes fights and quarrels among you? Do they not come from your desires that battle within you? You desire, but you do not have, so you kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. You do not have because you do not ask God. You see, some people...
You do not have because you do not ask God. And Today's thing. Hold on 1 second. I'm about to reply to your comment. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. Oh, Jesus. Thank you for liking and subbing.
Ectoplasm.
Wait, why did I go? You can definitely unsubscribe. To say.
God. That's what you're doing in my sister's life. I aspire to be like that. I see that as motivation. I just posted a video right before this about motivation. And some people, because they don't want to deal with whatever's hindering them within.
I have a lot of motivation. A lot of motivation. A lot of motivation. Self. I'm going to get that. If I want it, I get it. I'm going to have it. I'm going to have what I want. And that's just that.
They make that spirit a home. Now, they're not going to believe anything that God tells them. The reason being is because that spirit has already taken over their body. They have not rebuked it. They have not rejected it. And now they're everything else in their life. Their thoughts, their words, their actions is all disordered. Because it all revolves around the evil practices. It all revolves around that spirit that has now harbored their body, their mind, everything. And that's the reason why maybe you have been under attack. And that's why random people will come out of nowhere and start lying on you, start cursing you out, start this, start that. Because that's, once they felt that trigger or they felt that itch of covet, they never dealt with that spirit. Instead of dealing with it, they fed it. So that is why God tells you to be slow to speak. Remember, we're not battling against flesh and blood. We're battling against spiritual principalities. When the devil has a hard time defeating you, that's when he will go around looking for people who come into agreement with the spirit of envy, malice, and all of that. Because the spirit is involved in every evil practice. That means if a person is speaking about you and everything they're saying are lies, right? Then because what they're speaking is evil practice, they're not going to remember their lies. The spirit's going to just keep feeding them new information, because remember, their main focus is how to tear you apart, how to betray you, how to pull you off your path. Because that's their ambition. Remember, the Bible says ambition, because that is their ambition. They're not remembering their past lies. They're not remembering what they said before. Because they're so focused on creating new things. They're so focused on trying to destroy you. They don't even realize they're destroying themselves. They don't even realize that they're actually helping vindicate you, because the truth is coming out based on the twisting of their story on numerous occasions. So the Lord is vindicating you in this way. And this is why, again, slow to speak, slow to anger.
That's that Gregorian nut. But there was something else about Gregorian. I think it was the Gregorian calendar or something like that. But the Gregorian knot, the telling lies and low vibrational things. See, and I never like to lie. Never like to lie at all. It's not something I've always resonated with. Just me, for people that know me or knew of me. That was just not one of my things.
Do not give the parasite, which is the spirit that is using them, what it wants, right? It starts to find other ways of how to destroy you.
Yeah.
And these ways contradict the previous ways, and it reveals the truth.
Yep.
Okay?
Thanks.
So whoever you are, somebody's story keeps changing. It keeps changing. And people are starting to see the truth. Continue to stay focused on God. Continue to lead by example. All right? I love you guys. I'll see you later. Bye.
Oh, fuck.
Can you believe these are actually earphones?
I actually hit the wrong button. So yeah, people. Gonna be okay. You gonna be okay. Okay, so let's see. Blood lunar eclipse tonight. So the total eclipse tonight, I'm definitely present in my future. Please release any and all sexual demons, entities, and influences from my life. Please reveal this to me in them dreams. God, please protect us against anything trying to tear us off of our path, distract us off of our paths, and put any barriers in our paths that for anything that belongs to us for receiving and earning our harvest. Please and thank you. To our ancestors, our higher selves, our ancestors around and away from any lower vibrational entities, principalities, and beings that are trying to get in our ways, in our lives, in our past, and let us have discernment and clarity through it, in and out the ebb and flow. Please and thank you. And may we be protected from any and all low vibration. Please and thank you. Eclipse that out of our lives. So this is what we want and this is what we speak. Let what was promised to us, this is what we want to manifest right now. Anything that was put against us, of any low and all low vibrations, whether it be our home, our cars, our bodies, our minds, our bodies and souls, and or any and all of our chakras from spinning the wrong way. We want to send out this energy back to where it came from, back to where it needs to go, back to the universe, so the universe will know exactly who to give this to. Please and thank you. We send back any and all negative energy that is not for us, that speaks out against us, that wants wrongdoing to our generational lineage. We eclipse this negative energy out of our lives, any negative energy towards our harvest, any negative energies that is against us. We release it with this lunar eclipse in Pisces, September 7th, 2025. Please and thank you. Mother, Father God, at the highest way, light and order. Any and all negative energies on all levels. May they come in the correct balance and be returned to where they came from. Seven in the year 9. It still equates back into a 7. So, yeah, Archangel Michael is on the list. So use the dark divine energy to eclipse the shit out of your life. Anything negative, all things negative, release it. Go back. Anything that needs to be released right now, release it. Please and thank you. Any and all lower vibrational sexual energy, go back where you came from. Stay there. Stay there. What the fuck is that? Oh, that's that nail. Y'all be great. Get your manifestation, manifestation on, and letting go all negative energies out of your life. Best of luck. Okay. Be great. In everything, let it go.